Hello, my name is Irene Tansman, and I'm the author of AB and Arlene's Autism War. And I'd like to talk to you today about fake ABA. First, in order to know what fake ABA is, you should know what real ABA is. ABA stands for Applied Behavior Analysis. I have a definition here for you. Applied behavior analysis is the process of systematically applying behavioral principles of learning to improve target positive behaviors or decrease target negative behaviors. ABA are buzz letters. Parents want their children who have autism to get ABA because they believe that this behavioral method will help their child with learning. This method is particularly beneficial for those children who have issues with motivation. Now, just because your child is in a school or in a program that professes to use ABA, that doesn't necessarily mean that your child is getting ABA. Just because the teacher or the direct service provider might have initials after his or her name, such as BCBA, or even if they have credentials, other academic credentials, such as a master's degree in special education or a master's degree in applied behavior analysis, or even a PhD in psychology, that does not necessarily guarantee that your child is receiving ABA. Now, there could be professionals involved with your child who are publishing peer-reviewed articles in prestigious journals, such as the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis. And that still does not guarantee that your child is actually receiving authentic ABA. Now, I'd like to talk, I can't tell you in one video all of the ways that the ABA might not be authentic or it might be ineffective, because that's too much to do in one video. But I am going to tell you some of the warning signs and a few examples of, well, you're not really getting ABA. Now, the first example that I want to talk about is stealing. Now, stealing is one of my favorites because my son has an issue with stealing. He'll steal food from somebody else's plate. He'll steal pillows. He likes to steal. Another example I'm going to give is a kid who disrobes. So let's start with the stealing. And think about the definition that I gave you at the beginning of the video. Now, with stealing, what you want to happen is or what I want my son to do, is instead of stealing, how about asking nicely for what you want instead of taking it from another person? You know, if he wants something, most of the time we give it to him anyway. He doesn't need to steal. So the increased behavior is requesting, or we call it manding, and the decreased behavior, stealing. Now, if you see something like that or some kind of a strategy, a plan involving those things, that's ABA. All right. Now, I'll give you an example of not ABA. Not ABA is you're going to prevent him from stealing. He's not going to be close to his peer so that he can have an opportunity to steal. Everything's going to be locked away so that he's not going to have an opportunity to steal. They're going to make sure that he's not going to steal, and they're going to write down data to make sure to see what his stealing is. Okay, that's not ABA. Now, with the disrobing example, the child is or adult is disrobing, and they come up with an idea. They're going to put a full body leotard on the kid so that he can't disrobe because it's too difficult to get out of that. That's not ABA. I mean, it isn't. So what is that method? The method of, well, I'll call it the method of prevention. Oh, they're taking the data. Well, what that is nothing. It teaches the child nothing, and they're doing absolutely nothing. They're taking the data, so it looks like they're doing something, but in actuality, they're doing nothing. Now, you can have a program, and okay, we're going to be looking at the stealing, and it can show up on an IEP or an ISP. We're going to work on this. This disrobing shows up on the ISP. Great goal, everybody's in agreement, but they're not telling you that they're not really using ABA. They're just preventing the person from doing it. So in other words, they're doing nothing. And then the child is really not getting ABA. There's no ABA. It's really nothing, and they're not working on it. Some parents might come to the conclusion, ABA doesn't really work for my kid. But the reality is your child isn't actually getting ABA. So my goal in this video is to give you the idea to alert you that to the possibility that if your child is not improving in the areas that you really want him or her to improve in, that there is a possibility, even in an ABA school, even though they're all BCBAs, there is a possibility that your child is not actually getting ABA. They won't tell you. So I hope you will consider buying my book, Abby and Arlene's Autism War, and I'll see you on the next YouTube. Thanks for listening.